How's it going, everyone? Today's lesson is we're going to go over this exercise number 31 from 50 Days to Flying Fingers. So I did about 3 years ago, I had this idea to take my classical background and my jazz background and kind of combine them and create my own exercises and also several exercises that I've kind of made my own and come up with this course idea, because I do believe that technique and things that you learn from classical music as well as technique that you learn from jazz, it's all really good, and we can get in the habit of playing just right hand piano if we play a lot of trio piano, and we kind of neglect the left hand. So anyway, these exercises are all based on using both hands together. And this exercise I put in the description is example 31. So we're just going to take it really slowly. And this does a couple of things. This is based off of the blues scale, but also a triplet rhythm. And I'm just going to go ahead and teach it to you guys, even though the music is up there. It's kind of small on the video, I think. But you can download, just enter in your email, and it goes right to you. And what you'll do when you sign up for the list, it's basically I give you guys free PDFs, and my lists have been going crazy. I think I've been averaging about 30 subscribes per day recently. And whenever you guys do sign up for multiple PDFs and things like that, it erases your old information. So you shouldn't get several different emails from me. It should just be one email. So it should overwrite that, so you can at least still get the access to the PDF. All right, so here we go. We have the C, first 5 notes of the C blues scale. We're starting at the top, and think of a triplet rhythm. So 1 and then 2 and then you go up the octave to the C, and then a flat 7, 2 and then you go down to the 4. Up to the 5, so you're getting that tritone in there with the F sharp. So far we have 1 and then 2 and then 3 and then 4, and then you go up to the flat third. Let's do that again. First part, octave, flat 7, 4, sharp 4, 5, flat third, and you get to the root. So we're going to come down. Notice I'm coming down the blues scale. And then tritone. It's a nice sound that you need to get into your fingers. That idea of the tritone. And at the very end I do into the flat third. The idea behind all of these exercises is just like a Hanon or a classical type exercise, is that you actually would turn on your metronome. I'm not going to do it now because this is not a teaching video. Well, it is a teaching video, but I'm just going over the concept. I want you guys to grab the PDF, and for those of you guys that do have my 50 Days to Flying Finger courses, every single example goes on how to practice this example, and we actually turn on the metronome and go for however long we set for that day, 5 minutes or whatever the case is, so that you're actually in real time using a metronome and practicing along with me. And you also have the PDF again. But when you grab this PDF today, you're going to take it in sections. So the first thing, I always put the fingerings as well into all the PDFs, but it's just 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Octave. it down. Get to that flat 7. The first thing I'm thinking about is this is very easy to us. If you've been following along with my channel, you know it's very important to get your hand set over the C blues scale in the key of C. So we do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I like the idea of being able to play off of any note. In other words, if I'm playing a C blues, all these notes are going to work and they're going to sound good just from the C blues scale. But I'm in position to play any of those notes. And so we get this shape that I can go to, and sometimes I practice mashing them down all at the same time, just because once you get your hand in this particular shape, you don't even have to you don't have to think to be able to execute any of those notes. You still want to make music with your notes, but your hand's set up, you don't even have to think about it. You could be looking up at your audience or anything, and your hands are already going to be there, and I can play any of those notes without any problem. So here we go. We're going to do the first 5 notes of the C blues coming down again, and then go up the octave, flat 7, 4, sharp 4, 5. I want to get to my thumb and my 3rd finger on the G. I go up with my pinky on top and my thumb on the E flat. So you see how I'm practicing this. I'm working in sections. Now I'm going to do the next section, which is coming down the blues scale. And then I do the tritone starting on C, F sharp, C. And again, that's a really, really important interval, the interval of a tritone, but also using it in context of we're in the key of C, so find that tritone and practice the spacing of C, F sharp to C. And you hear me, what I just did is I practiced going up the octave. I used to I still do listen to Oscar Peterson a lot, and I love the way he would use the tritone in his playing. Okay, so let's do that again. Coming down the blues scale, tritone, and I end with the 3rd, and then it starts over again. And I'm not in any hurry to play it fast. I always think it's really important to practice slowly, because you have to be able to play things slowly and play them correct in terms of your position and the way you're holding your hand, and then you gradually speed it up, and then you can play it pretty much as fast as you want to play it. But I practice things really slowly all the time, and whenever I teach students and we're going through things, and I say, well, let's slow it down, almost painfully slow, and then after you do that for a while, you really begin to make a lot of progress. So another thing that I like to do is, let's just say we have this exercise down, but we still want to make some music with this, right? So we learn these exercises and be able to play with both hands. But then if you're thinking in terms of a triplet, and you have, let's just say we'll do this example that we've been doing, right? Really important to have this down. And then I'm thinking of the exercise in triplet. 1 and then 2 and go back to the exercise. 1 and then 2 and then 3 and then 4 and then 1 and then 2 and then 1 and then 2 and then. It's really important to be able to count, and I often get my students to not only sing out loud whatever your phrase is, but also just counting out loud. 1 and then 2 and then 3 and then 4 and. That way when you're actually practicing, you can really be thinking about the rhythm, and it helps you lock up everything. So 1 and then 2 and then 3 and then 4 and then 1. It also helps you kind of decide or be able to see where all of your beats line up. So 1 and then 2 and then the then of 2. 1 and then 2 and then 3, so the B flat gets, the flat 7 gets 3. 4 is the G. So it's just really nice to be able to really think about all the notes and how they line up. Then 2, and then 3, and then 4, and then 1. So now I'm on C, and I'm on 1 again. 1, and then 2, and then 3, and then 4, and then the tritone got the 4. And what I would do in terms of practicing is I would put my metronome on very slowly. And just repeat it over and over. And eventually we would transpose it. But another thing is, a lot of my students, this might be really difficult for you to do with both hands, and that's okay. I want you to just practice it with one hand. So even the end of that lick, you actually have the tritone, right? C, F sharp, and C. And I like the sound of that. That sounds nice over my C chord. And what I may want to do there is, one of our blues licks that we do has this C7 sharp 9 lick, and it has a really nice kind of think of it like a train sound, right? Listen to that tritone over that, so you're... So as we learn the lick, and then we get it in our fingers and in our mind and in our vocabulary, and then you can just start mixing it up however you want to. So if you heard me play this coming down, that sounds great. This sounds good with the tritone, or even that root to minor third. So you have that. You just practice that over and over. So you have... That's just another part of the lick where I did. So notice that I'm mixing it up and making it, first learning it as it is, and then making it my own by taking different parts and put them in my improvisation. So maybe I'll just stay there for a minute. Alright, so let me just recap, guys, and since several of you guys might be at work today, but I just wanted to get on for a minute and show you that PDF. I think we're live right now. Let me check. So I want you to go grab that PDF and give it a try and let me know. Let me turn this down. Okay, so grab, it's day 31 of 50 Days to Flying Fingers, and what made me think about this course to do a quick lesson on it was that I had somebody sign up for my course, And I'll just be real with you guys. It was like $130, $129 a couple of years ago, and lots of people signed up for it, and it was really good. It was a lot of engagement. And then over the last couple of years, I decided I wanted to do something different with it, and that I want to get a community group together of people who want to actually not only get the course, but also to practice together and do some things. So I'm working on restructuring that. Again, the course is still available and you can get it. And I actually lowered it. Instead of $130 for the short time, I'm doing it for like under $50. It's crazy, but I want you to know that I put a lot of work into this course. I have a classical background, studied with really great people who helped me kind of get to where I am when it comes to my technique and fingers and things like that. But I've also taken this idea of a classical background and put it with my jazz background. So I also have lots of Oscar Peterson type exercises, as well as things that fit over the blues courses that we have. So I want you to know that it's literally 50 different exercises, and they're all notated out. And anyway, if you get it, I know without a doubt that you will absolutely, totally transform your technique. And I do this kind of stuff every day that I practice as well. So it's not just me telling you what to do. I do it myself. So I'm actually looking forward to creating this group. And haven't exactly decided how I'm going to structure the class. Like if we're going to allow 20 people or 50, I don't know exactly how we're going to do it, but it is going to happen. It's going to happen pretty soon. Other than that, I want you to go grab that PDF, and I'll go through this a couple more times, and then I'll sign off, and I'll sort of trim this video down for you guys so that you won't have to listen to me talking for a while. All right, hope you have a great day, and let me know if you have any questions for the next couple of minutes. So that's that exercise that we've been doing lately, turning in the, instead of just doing this right here, We're doing 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. This might actually be a little more difficult to actually play this over. 1 and then 2 and... I think I might stay away with that for now, but I do like the idea on the exercise we've been doing for in our blues course, where we're going to start adding lots of different bass lines. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. It might confuse you a little bit to do. But let's go back to the other one. All right, so make sure, I see a couple of people getting on. How's it going? Somebody say hey in the chat. I was about to sign off, but I at least want to say hey to you guys. And if you have any questions, let me know. Oh, and I would like to know, how does it sound on your end? Is my voice loud enough? Is the piano, is it coming through? How's it going, Nigel? All right, piano is a little bit muffled. That's not good. All right, let me see if I can adjust that. All right, give me a second. All right, so I did boost the gain a little bit. Hopefully I'm not clipping. Let me check. Let me start playing an example again, and then let's see. Yeah, I hear it clipping. Hold on a sec. It's not good. I've got to turn it down a little bit. All right, let's try that. Sounds a little distorted though on my end as well. Still, let me turn it down just a little bit. Is this still sounding muffled? Yeah. Oh, it's still crackling. All right, what about this? Okay, cool. It's always a little bit tricky with some of these sounds, but I'll keep working on it. But thank you so much for the feedback. All right. Does anybody have any questions related to? I think you guys are just now joining me, but I will do a quick review. But if you have any questions, please put them in the chat or just say hello. All right, so this PDF is from 50 Days to Flying Fingers, and it basically, link is in the description, and it's taking the blues scale and thinking in triplets. So 1 and then 2 and then, and so I'm going up the octave then. So 1 and then 2 and then 3 and then 4. So then what I'm doing is turning this blues scale around and doing approach note up to the 5th note. And then up to the flat 3rd, getting down to the root. And then I'm going to come down the blues scale. So what I was saying when we first started is that I practice this first 5 notes of the blues scale. You guys know it's super important. How's it going, Vicky? So first 5 notes of the blues scale, my hand's already set up. I have the first 5 notes. Every finger is in its right place, so I can not even have to think about it. I think about my notes, but my hand position is in a great position, so I can go do whatever I want to do. All these notes are going to work, whatever I'm hearing in my head. Same for you guys. So the next thing is I get this down and I get the octave. So I want to make sure I get that spacing up to my octave. So 1 and then 2 and then 3 and then 4 and then notice that I get to my C up on the root again. Not only the root, but beat 1 and then 2 and then. So that's just the blues scale coming down, and then I do octave with this tritone. And then it goes to the flat 3rd. All right, the PDF that you see that might look a little small right now has all the fingerings in, and if you go follow the link in the description, you can get there. And I would appreciate if you guys are enjoying this kind of content. Make sure you like this, and I'd love for you to comment. It all helps me. And you guys have really been signing up like crazy to my email list. And I told somebody earlier today that it's like 30 different people. I say different people. 30 people are signing up to my email list a day, or close to that. And what I want you to know is, if you sign up for multiple lists, it should just, I think it erases your contact information, so you only have one sign up, okay? Oh, you're welcome, Nigel. No problem, man. All right, so the way the 50 Days to Flying Fingers came about, I'm just going to say it just one more time. So I do have a classical background and a jazz background, and I combined the two. A couple years ago, I said, well, let's, we do all these hand exercises. Let me take my jazz and classical background and mix them together. So I was just playing, I have a Oscar Peterson things that I've done that are based off the blues scale. And so I've created all these cool exercises, and then I've taken my arpeggios and things that I've learned from the classical background and actually made them in tenths and things like that. So it's like you get the jazz side of things mixed in with the classical side of things. And so I love being able to work with both hands at the same time. And the exercises that I like to do are exercises that you need to play in both hands, but you can also make them musical. And what we're doing here is we're saying, all right, let's take this blues scale, let's think of it in triplets, put it in both hands, and then this is an example of, even though we're using the blues scale, we could use it in a musical way, right? We can do this very slowly, think in triplets, so 1 and then 2 and then 3 and then 4 and then 1 and then 2. when I created this course, it actually has 50 different exercises, and they're very in depth. And I talk about playing very slowly and going through all these exercises, but I also demonstrate it in real time. So in the videos that you get, you not only get the PDF, but we turn on the metronome and we say, you're going to do this for X amount of time. And my thought is that if you are really consistent and you follow along and you do what it says, I am 100% convinced that you guys can get wherever you want your technique to go if you do these simple exercises. And just being real, you could do just example 1 of my 50 days to flying fingers and it would change your technique. So for me, I mean, that I really believe in that. Let me say something about that really quickly. So I have beginning students and I have advanced students. What I tell my beginning students is this: if you do this one exercise, and this example 1 of 50 days, right, where you hold the C triad, you hold the bottom note, and then you go to D and do F and A. So there's a certain way that you play this, and then you repeat it from the top down. So if you did that one exercise every day, that would be a game changer. And you could put in the chat if you guys have already done that exercise that I've demonstrated. It's example 1. If you need the PDF to that, I'll send it to you. My whole thing on this is that consistency and knowing what to practice you can literally totally change your technique. So I'll just give you a couple of more examples of some of the simple things that are in this course. Okay, so one is we take the first 5 notes of the blues scale, and you guys know it's very important for me, for everybody to learn that. And there's a way that I like to practice it. It's obviously you get your hand in whatever shape that fits over all 5 notes, and you literally practice making sure you're set up so you don't have to move your fingers a lot. And then you're going to learn it in all keys. And there's a way that I like to teach that as well, which I'm going to do in another video. I want to talk about transposition. But anyway, if you did that exercise and you did example 1, now you're starting to really get your fingers working. Now, I'll demonstrate just a couple more, and then we'll wind up for today. Let's say we take the C blues scale, okay, which what we're working on, but I did this exercise. Sorry, octave, flat 7, 6, flat 6, and come down. So now you're working with the octave, you're working with the flat 7, the 6, the flat 6, and the first 5 notes of blues scale. So now you're working your ear and your fingers. So now you have 3 exercises. You have this exercise, example 1. You have the first 5 notes of blues scale, and now you have the octave. Okay, so what I like to do for my advanced students is by the time you get done with the 50 days, you're doing these really difficult arpeggios based on blues etudes based on arpeggios, and it's through jazz harmonies, which is really cool. I tell you all of that because there's so much material, it's ridiculous. And I don't care if you just do one of these examples or you just do day 31. I promise you, if you try this and you're consistent with it, you will see the results. All right, does anybody have any questions on the example that we did today, day 31? So one of the things you guys can do, and I think I'm going to stay on, since we don't have a lot of activity in the chat, I think what I'll do, guys, is just, I'll do another 7 minutes. It's 12:08 for me. And what I'll do is, if you have any questions between now and the next 7 minutes, put them in the chat. Definitely, if you're enjoying this, leave a like. I'd love to hear from you guys in the comment section. Download the video, download the PDF. But what I'm going to do is just demonstrate how you can practice this exercise. So we just have worked on how to learn it, but now you're going to work on how to put it into your practice sessions. So you can do this. Put example 1. Nice and slow. I love slow practice. Here's the first part. So I'm going to open up the floor for asking you guys this question. What would you say, does anybody have anything they're struggling with that they would like me to make a video on? Hey, how's it going? I hope I would say your name right. Is it Ehab? I'm probably butchering it. Mine's easy. It's just Bob. Or is it Abner? Thank you very much. It's good to see you. I've enjoyed talking with you through emails and things like that. And comments. I love when you guys comment because it helps me understand what you guys are looking for. It's always funny too because I can do a whole teaching lesson and then 5 new people will jump on and then I feel like I want to go tell them what we talked about. But anyway. All right, so what I want to know from you guys is you can email me, bob@iMusicAcademy.com, but I want to know what your struggles are. Rhythm, awesome. Nigel, that is awesome for you to say that. Rhythm is a super important thing. And there is a lot that I want to talk about rhythm, and I want to help you out with this as well. I had a student of mine last week, and he came and he played some standards for me, and he sounded really great, but everything was really rushed, and everything was it felt, you know how if we're playing and we know we don't sound good, we don't feel good if it doesn't feel good, and so guess what happens? We continue to not sound good and not feel good because it often has to do with rhythm. And so what we talked about in our lesson was how to go in slow motion when it comes to your practice time. Okay, so when I say slow motion, like I practice things like this, like what I'm just doing there with blues example 1. Now, the reason I like to practice like this is because if you literally think like this, you can start to kind of create almost like a painter does, because you have all these ideas, but if you really practice slowly, you can mix it up. And for instance, I'm not going to do anything complicated, but I'm just going to do what we've been practicing today. So we just learned this example. Da, 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 boom, ba, da, ba, da, dum. So I have all these ideas that come right from the exercise, or just the C to F sharp to C. Now, I'm going to use either one of those ideas or example one. That's just the tritone. Now I'm going to do the exercise. Here we go. Cool. So here we go. So what I did is I played the exercise exactly as it is, but I'm hearing this in my head. Da 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 da. So I'm not rushing anything, right? Yeah, awesome. Okay, so we didn't even turn on the metronome, Nigel, if you're still there. And this is the next thing. So I talk about extremely slow practice. I absolutely love that. And what I like to tell my students is this, is if I'm playing a ballad and I'm thinking very slowly, I can think of both hands working together, and I think of everything as pictures. Like I think of each voicing. I'm not thinking right hand, left hand. I'm thinking like whatever I'm doing, I'm thinking of it as one big unit. So a lot of times people think, well, what about my left hand and what about my right hand? They're not working together, but you start to hear things together. So let me give you an example in a very simple way, okay? All right, so if we're doing this bass line where we do 2-5-1, okay, we're just walking up D minor 9, G 13, and C major 9, okay? Okay, that's something that I want you guys to be able to not only do, but transpose. So you have D, F, A, C, E. These are part of the chord shortcuts. Let's do that. Okay, so notice that I'm walking up the scale, like I get that under my fingers, and that's something you want to loop over and over, okay? But then I also want to practice this. Now that's the triad going up. So I'm still doing the same thing in my right hand. Now I'm going to do the first way, walking up the scale. Okay, now I'm going to do the second way, and then I'll explain. Triad, minor triad. So if I'm just arpeggiating this for beginners, right, I do. So notice, what did I change? I only changed the left hand, right? Instead of hearing this, dum, 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 which I'm hearing this as one big unit, bom, ba, da, da, dum, but I also might hear this, bom, bom, ba, da, dum. I'm still hearing it as one big picture, bom, bom, ba, da, dum. Now I'm going to hear it as the first way, boom, 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 down, 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 boom, boom, ba, dum, ba, do, do, boom, dum, dum. Does that make sense to you guys? So even though I'm playing both hands and they're both can be doing different things, I'm literally thinking about shapes or sounds as one big thing. So I could play the voicings up here, so it's just an inversion of that. Okay, let me read these questions. Oh, awesome. Yeah, you're welcome, Nigel. Nigel, there's one other thing I want to talk about rhythm, so don't go anywhere just yet, okay? Okay. Ehab, let me tell you something very cool. I am also a guitarist, and what I love is I love the fact when people play multiple instruments, and I always say that you just transfer one knowledge to the next, and it really is true. Like, I would love to show you on guitar how you could really make things work for guitar. There's so many ways to connect the dots. But, all right, so you have blues example 1. Okay. Hey, that's really cool about going through blues volume 1. So what I've been doing lately with a lot of students is, these are the students that I teach online, is that everybody who has my courses know that this is the bass line that you have, right? And that's really important. But what we're starting to do now, and I'm actually getting feedback from a lot of different people of some of the things that I want to do with all my students. And I say, if you have my courses, you're a student of mine. So if you ever hear me say that, I also do teach privately, but that's not what this is about. So we have this example and we get it under our fingers. And I want to make sure you guys are always pressing the bottom note too. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and always repeating that C, right, when you're doing that example. But there's so many other examples that I like for you guys to get after you get this example down. So let me just demonstrate. The one that I introduced the other day was very simply just using the triad, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So let me demonstrate. So over blues example 1, you have this. This is the way we start the chorus, right? Now listen to this. So we have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. I'll just speed it up for the sake of time. So it already changes the feel of that. Well, let me do something a little bit different. Instead of this, I also like the idea of just doing a single bass note like this, and or like a 4 on the floor, just 1, 2, right? 1, 2, 3. That's 2. Now you also could do this. A whole nother bass line to learn. And another one that I did an example the other day, many of you probably downloaded this one, is this. Now you talk about rhythm, Nigel, you were talking about having trouble with rhythm. Once you just break everything down, it can make a lot of sense to you. For instance, this is a kind of a difficult rhythm unless you think of it like 1 and then 2 and then 3 and then 4 and then 1 and then 2 and All right, so you get the idea. So I love taking this iMusicAcademy, even the Blues Volume 1 to the next level. All right, now, here's some fun things, some fun facts of one of my next videos coming out. And I have a question for you guys. So accountability is super important to me when it comes to my students. A lot of my guys who take lessons from me, they just do it for fun, and I love that. But even my guys who do it for fun, what I would love for them to be able to do is to transpose and to play things in different keys. So let's really quickly talk about even example 1, and then I want to tell you the way that I'm thinking about doing this with my students is I want to create some accountability groups. This is to only encourage people how to get better, right? So let me give you an example. Blues example 1, since we're working on that today, is let's say that we're going to practice 4 days a week, and there are 12 keys, right? So you're going to take off 3 days a week, but on those 4 days, you're going to do 3 different transpositions of our 12 major keys. So we're going to do C, C sharp, and D of example 1. Now, we could say that we're going to take 1 day off a week and we're going to do 6 days. So we do two keys a day. And the idea is that we start to transpose simple ideas, like, for instance, blues example 1. So here we go. So the first one, you have the fingering for that. You're good to go. So this might be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I'm sorry, this would be Monday, Tuesday. Now we're going to do C sharp, and you have to learn this fingering. So on this example, even blues example 1, you have 2 fingerings to get you through all 12 keys. You're either doing a slide key, black note to a white note, or you're hammering on the minor third to the major third. So let's say we're doing every 6 days, we take off a day once a week. So we're going to do 2 keys a day. So today you're doing C and C sharp. So I'd practice that for a while. Now I'm going to get C sharp down. Now, this is sort of important to say is that I'm not just thinking in terms of what you do during the week, but if I'm going to teach a specific course, I'm thinking actually some longer goals. Like, for instance, if we did 6-week course and we were going to take easy jazz volume 1, and so we're going to learn this is something I really want to do. You guys know that my easy jazz course is out there for free, right? It's all the charts and the whole video, even the longer version, is out there for free. So scroll back if you need to and go find that. Ferdinand, how's it going, man? So make sure you go download those jazz charts, because the thing that I'm thinking about doing is putting together something where over 6 weeks, we do jazz volume 1, let's say, or blues volume 1, or both, where we do a small group of people that say, I'm going to do this for the 6 weeks. And then by the end of the 6 weeks, you're going to have all keys done for the easy jazz course. I mean, you guys know the easy jazz course starts with the first 5 notes of the blues scale, and then we go into 2-note comping voicings, then you go into 3-note comping voicings, and then you go into a few licks, and then we do walking bass lines, and all that happens within like 25 minutes. So imagine, actually the longer version that I put up a couple videos ago is 44 minutes long. But what I'm thinking about doing is we create a group of people who want to learn about transposition and work on this stuff together. And we would say, all right, for this next 6 weeks, we're going to do 2 keys every single week, and we're going to knock it out, right? 6 weeks, 2 keys a week, we knock it out. Awesome, Andy. Very cool. That's awesome. That's I don't think I've seen you on here, Andy, but glad that you're joining us. For anybody who's joining me now, we started off talking about day 31 of 50 Days to Flying Fingers, and then we've talked about lots of different things and ways to practice. So thank you guys so much for being here. Make sure you do like and comment on my videos, and like them, and subscribe if you haven't subscribed to my channel. But things have been going really well for iMusicAcademy. If you guys look at my previous history over the last couple of weeks, I've been doing videos almost daily, and we're getting about 30 people sign up a day, on not every day, but to my different emails for PDFs and things like that. But once you sign up, it should overwrite your previous email address, so you won't get tons of different emails from me. Okay, now, Nigel, if you're still here, I have one thing for you while I'm thinking about it, is a video that I did about the metronome on 2 and 4. So I want that to be something that you do all the time. You're talking about having trouble with your rhythm. So I want you guys to do this. It doesn't matter what level you are. I love the idea of practicing 2 and 4 in the metronome. And the way I practice this, I don't know if you guys can hear that. It'll be a faint click. Let me move my thing over here. So I like to practice counting on the metronome on 2 and 4. And what I always tell my students is just start, when you hear the click, start on, that's 2. So listen, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to do it again. So you hear the click going by on your metronome. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, does that make sense? If you do, you guys put yes, it makes sense in the chat. That is one of the best tips that when it comes to metronome. You hear that click and you immediately go 2, 3, 4. And I love to have my students literally like walk around your house, be thinking about 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So when you're practicing your ideas and your lines and practicing very slowly, like we talked about earlier, you're literally I just got an email notification. You're practicing 2 and 4 on the metronome. Any other questions, guys, on anything? I'm going to see. Let me just see how many people have signed up. I'm going to give you guys some inside information here. Yeah, awesome. Yeah, Nigel, these things that I talk about are things that I do myself, okay? When it comes to transposition, you know, I love working with different people, and these things that I teach you, I do them myself. That's the only way we're going to get better. We have to push each other, make sure you're around other people that are encouraging you to practice in different ways. For instance, let's be real here, and if I said, hey, how many of you guys practice in E blues? You know, you might be like, oh, I practice in C a lot, or if I'm a jazz, I might practice B flat, but are we really working on other keys and things like that? And so I want to change that. I want to help people get better in all keys, and that's why I've been thinking about, all right, we're going to do a 6-week course where we work together. And I mean, 2 keys a week for 6 weeks, we can do that. And that way we can play in any key. All right, so here we go. Here are my numbers. So far, it says that 2 people got the PDF that I just put in there. Now, it could mean that your information got overwritten, so it didn't show me that. But I'm hoping that all of y'all get this PDF. And for those of you just jumping on, just a reminder of what this is: day 31 of 50 days to Flying Fingers. Even that has a lot of really cool exercises built in it. So make sure you get that. All right, any questions before I sign off? I've been rambling for long enough, but it's been really fun hanging out with you guys. I'm going to give you guys, because there's a delay, like 2 or 3 minutes, and then if you don't have any questions, I'll sign off for now, but I'll definitely be doing another video tomorrow, maybe even tonight. Awesome, Nigel. All right, Nigel, from you, I want an update on something that that you're going to do, like in your practice, right? So either something that I mentioned, or just something that you thought about on your own, something you're going to do, and I want to encourage you to do something like working with the metronome and making sure that that's super important to you, or do give me one lick, C and C sharp, something like that. So, very cool. All right, Nigel, I expect you to give me an update. And Andy, thank you so much, man. Yeah, get the PDF. It's not going to hurt anyone. And maybe there's something, if we get a lot of momentum with you guys, I need to think of some good times to stream. If you guys can put it in the chat or send me an email, Bob at iMusicAcademy, and let me know particular days and times. I'm Central Time, USA, but I would love to know when you guys would like me to go live, and we can make that happen. All right, so here are my links. What? You just saw me on YouTube? Awesome, Andy. All right, so check this out. This is important. So I am literally on a lot of different social media things. And some of these may actually really help you out. So it's very important. I am on Instagram, iMusicAcademy. I'm also on Jazz Piano Studio, sort of top secret. You can find me on Instagram there. It's a new channel that I started. It's going really well there. It's more obviously jazz piano focused, but there's also a top secret, yes, I'm saying it out loud, there's a top secret channel on YouTube called Jazz Piano Studio. Tons of pre-content. There are all kinds of diminished kind of things, trio voicings, all that. Okay, so that's sort of top secret news. Now, here's another thing. At the advice of my awesome daughter, in November, I started a TikTok channel, and all I do is post videos of they're very short, 10 seconds, 12 seconds. But what's been amazing is it's literally kind of going crazy on there. And I just play examples and do whatever people are asking me to do. And it's sending tons of traffic to all of my channels. So, anyway, you guys can find me on there as well. If you want tons of free tips that are just like 12-second pro tips, go and say hey to in the chat if you do. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. That's enough for now. Email me anytime, bob@iMusicAcademy.com, and I guess that's about it. I'll go 30 more seconds or a minute, and I'll just keep it open for questions, and then I'll shut it down. But I really enjoyed hanging out with each one of you. It's good to see all of you. And Andy, really cool that you were able to get on. So thanks so much. See you guys. Nigel, awesome, man. I love it. Yes. Nigel, you are all of us, right? We get to where we practice in the key of C. Now, I'm my 3 volumes. You're welcome, Nigel. My 3 volumes of blues courses are all in the key of C, but I did that on purpose. But anyway, there's actually a 4th volume that's coming out soon. Oh, okay. The pro tips. So I'm iMusicAcademy. So like I said, at the advice of my daughter, I started in November. I started a couple different channels. I started Jazz Piano Studio on Instagram. Okay, and that's going really well. And then the Instagram, just do iMusicAcademy, and literally that thing is going crazy, and it's sending tons of traffic, and I've been able to actually interact and meet a lot of people through that app, which I never thought was going to be something I would do. But anyway, it's tons of really good content. Happy Easter. Awesome. Happy Easter to you guys. I may have to do a video tonight just because, honestly, oh, Andy, I need to mention, so the other thing is I started that new channel, Jazz Piano Studio, on YouTube actually as well. And the reason is there's this core group of people. I do a lot of blues and piano at iMusicAcademy, but there's a ton of people that really want to do high-level jazz stuff. And I think when you go to Jazz Piano Studio and subscribe there, you'll see that I have tons of free content, like diminished scales and how to use like all these diminished things there, how to use altered stuff. And anyway, it's just tons of stuff, but my blues people might not like all that. Awesome, Philippe. Is it Felipe? Philip? Oh, I'm close. It's either Philippe or Felipe or Philip. All right, you guys, I'm going to say you have 1 more minute. All right, I'm going to check. I'm going to check the signups one more time. Bill Evans, absolutely. Here's a fun fact, is when I started learning piano, I listened to 2 people. I listened to Bill Evans and Oscar Peterson. Yeah, man.